Welcome to episode 14 of News for the Blues, your bite-sized weekly episode brought to you by the Unholy Trinity Everton podcast. What a busy week it's been. A lot's gone on since the defeat at Arsenal, obviously, last Saturday night. We did the main show on Sunday, looking back at that. A bit of fallout from that. Other things gone on this week which have obviously impacted the club. And then also big news today in regards to James Garner getting his first call up to the full England squad. And we discussed it many times on this show and on the main show about whether Thomas Tuchel would give him a chance in this March international window. He has done. Richly deserved, it's got to be said. We've said it for a long time now how much he's developed this season. You know, so important. One of the first names on the team sheet. He's flexible, dynamic, plays in a variety of positions, and every decent international side and every decent side needs a utility kind of player. And David Moyes, obviously, in the press conference today, before we welcome Chelsea. Well, I say welcome Chelsea, we'll discuss that in a minute. Before Chelsea come to Hill Dickinson Stadium tomorrow, he was asked about James Garner's call-up. Obviously, delighted for him. Deserves it. He's been talking him up all season as well. Feels that his best position is probably a number 8, but obviously he says he can also play in a number 6 as well going forward. He's played there before. He's played right back. We know all this, but fantastic to see him in the England squad. And it's a bit of a strange one, this international window, or the way that they've done the England squad, because they're going to have so many there for this first game against Uruguay. And he's actually resting 11 players as well. So the squad's not going to be quite as big as it's made out when the list was actually released this morning at 10 o'clock. So James Garner is going to be there, obviously, for that first game. Whether he's there for the second game remains to be seen, but that's going to be his opportunity against Uruguay to stake a bit of a claim, to stay on for that second game against Japan, and also maybe stake a claim for that World Cup squad as well. So best of luck to him. As we said, massively deserves the opportunity, and fingers crossed we can see him with an England shirt on, putting in a good performance, which then will hopefully lead to him going to the World Cup this summer. But we'll see what happens there. Obviously, Chelsea come to Hill Dickinson Stadium tomorrow, our 5 kickoff. Injury news, first of all. The manager says he thinks that Branthwaite and Tarkowski should both be around it, as in around the squad. Obviously, both missed the game against Arsenal last weekend. We didn't know why, probably more so with Tarkowski. The rumours were he got injured in training on the Friday. The manager wasn't too keen to answer questions on either of them in the post-match press conference after the Arsenal game. So we weren't too sure, but he feels that both of them will be back in and around it tomorrow. So that's good news for us, of course, to get them two back in there. Obviously, our 2 best centre-halves. Whether he starts either remains to be seen. But obviously, we know with Jarrad Branthwaite, they are managing his fitness. He's come back from that medium-term injury that he had. So we'll see what happens. The fallout from that game, obviously, which I mentioned that at the start of the show, and we discussed it last week, which was the video that Tierno Barry posted on Instagram, which showed fighting within the stands. He said it was friends and family, and Everton fans obviously throwing punches and things like that. We still don't know the background to it. We've heard a variety of different reports with the police. David Moyes was asked about that and said it has been dealt with internally in terms of he's been spoken to about. I'd say putting that clip out, that was the big sort of gripe of mine last weekend, was the fact that not so much what has gone on, because we don't know, so it's really hard to comment on what's led up to it. Obviously, we can't condone those kind of scenes in the stands, full stop, but we don't know the background to it, so really difficult to form an opinion. From my side, it was more, I don't want to see the player putting out videos within 2 minutes of getting in the dressing room. You know, there was no context applied to that. So we'll see where this goes. I'm sure the club are keen to draw a line under it. I assume Tierno Barry will be available tomorrow as well. So we will see what happens there. But obviously, David Moyes says that on the back of that, he has been spoken to. So hopefully from that side of things, that's an end of that as well. The police get on with what they need to get on with. Obviously, plenty of positives from the Arsenal game. David Moyes keen to stress that the players, there's no hangover. Loads of positives. The players are still full of confidence as we go into this game against Chelsea, which is similar in the sense that we're playing a side who were up at the top end of the table, but Chelsea in a poor run of form. I think they've won 1 in 7. Got absolutely annihilated in the Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain over 2 legs. So it's going to be interesting when they rock up to Hill Dickinson Stadium tomorrow. One of the main reasons why it's got a little bit more background to it after we found out that Chelsea's punishment, if you want to term it that, in regards to these agent payments over a number of years when Abramovich was the owner of Chelsea. Chelsea came forward when Bowley took over the club, told the Premier League about them. I think it was a £47.5 million worth of improper agent payments, which enabled them to bring in many quality players, which enabled them to win many different trophies over a number of years. It was seemed fit that they just got a fine. And obviously, as Evertonians, we've suffered a couple of points deductions from the Premier League. The major one being that first one that we got, where obviously we had the initial 10-point deduction. Don't forget, the Premier League pushed for 12. So from our perspective, it leaves a very bitter taste in your mouth, given the fact that at the time, and which the commission refused to even mitigate against the decision, was the fact that, a war started when Russia invaded Ukraine. Overnight, our sponsorship stopped, which was our major source of income. We were trying to build a stadium, impacted a hell of a lot of things. And if you remember rightly, the commission said that we should have foresaw all that. So from our perspective, as Evertonians, we're asking the question, well, how come when you make those kind of payments to agents to get deals done, which are illicit payments, to get the best players in the world to come to your football club to help you win major titles and honours and trophies along the way, clearly a sporting advantage, how come then there's no points deduction? David Moyes, obviously, he said he's keen to hear more about it and listen to more of the reasoning behind it, because we haven't heard a great deal. What's the justification for this? I know they've said, Chelsea cooperated, but they cheated, didn't they? And they won stuff. And it's clearly a sporting advantage. And you said that we gained a sporting advantage and we got a massive points deduction. We got 2 points deductions. So very bitter taste. And don't forget, one of the reasons behind why we got a points deduction was because they said fining multi-billionaire owners is an absolute waste of time. What kind of punishment's that? Well, what's the situation now? Obviously, as well, this money is also being taken from the money that's being held from the sale, which was, I think, due to go to Roman Abramovich as well. So I don't even think Chelsea are paying this fine directly. So what kind of punishment is that? So I'm very sceptical. You've seen fans this week who at the time probably laughed at us, gave us a bit of grief, didn't offer any kind of sympathy, didn't show any kind of understanding to our plight, and refused to look at the mitigating factors around why we breached the profit and sustainability regulations, and now come out of the woodwork to almost apologise and say, well, maybe they got it wrong. Listen, we said this for a long time. What went on to our football club was all a government game. It was all about trying to get rid of this independent regulator before they even came in. If the Premier League was trying to show that they could govern without an independent regulation, we said it was quite clear what was going on. And now people are choosing to sympathise now, which means absolutely nothing. So tomorrow, I'm sure that we'll give Chelsea a fabulous welcome at Hill Dickinson Stadium. I'd love to see the banners out again that we saw at Goodison Park in relation to the Premier League. I'd love it to be hostile, obviously within the boundaries of what is allowed, of course. But we should be voicing our opinion and our upset. And I think it's a real shame, really, the fact that we would see it the way that we were. Obviously, the likes of Forest could argue similar. Leicester, Sheffield Wednesday, those kind of sides who suffered points deductions could argue similar. And you see a side like Chelsea, got all the riches in the world, who spent all the money in the world, can go about the business exactly how they want without facing any kind of serious ramification. And that's disappointing. But if it wasn't going to be fiery already when you do that silly huddle around the ball in the centre circle, it's going to be fiery tomorrow. I can almost guarantee you that. So I look forward to getting down there and voicing my upset at what has gone on over the last few days. But besides that, obviously, it's a big game. It's an important game. We're not too far behind Chelsea ourselves. We've got aspirations of Europe. We've said that already. We've got to try and keep on picking up the points. It's a difficult end to the season. We know that. But one game at a time. We've got 3 weeks off after Chelsea. And, it's a big, big match. And they're not in great form. As I say, I think it's 1 win in 7. We've obviously won 2 of our last 3. And went away to the champions-elect, and for me, deserved a point, if not more. So I think it's going to be a decent game tomorrow. I've got high hopes. I certainly feel we can come away with something. And 3 points wouldn't surprise me. But fingers crossed on that. The last sort of part of the press conference today was in relation to Everton in the community. Obviously, it's Everton in the community day tomorrow. There's all kind of activities going on down there for the kids on the plaza, which will be exciting for them. We've got the coach welcome, the first coach welcome, obviously at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Get yourselves down there. About 25 past 3, I think the 1878 has said the coach should be arriving. Only a short route, but it's the first time we've done it. So get yourselves down there and sign, obviously cheer the lads on as they come into the stadium. Obviously the donuts, the kids have designed the donuts. Looks great, doesn't it? This one's got chocolates on it and everything, blue sauce that work. So I think that any donut which is sold, a portion of that fee goes to Everton in the community, which is great. David Moyes just cracked a bit of a joke around people who were there at the press conference today in regards to maybe not eating too many of these donuts. Not sure how well received that was, but that was when the press conference ended. But they look fabulous. The money goes to a great cause. So say when you get down there to cheer the lads on when they come into the stadium, get yourselves into the plaza, enjoy all the activities down there, get yourselves into the ground, get a couple of donuts, get a cup of tea, get a cup of coffee, and go and enjoy all the pre-match stuff. But that's me for today. I've gone on long enough, probably a little bit longer than normal. But we'll be back ourselves on Sunday to look back on the main show in relation to that Chelsea game before we got those 3 weeks off, before we go away to Brentford. So it'll be internationals, obviously Hill Dickinson Stadium hosting Ivory Coast against Scotland. So looking forward to that. We're getting down there ourselves, the 3 of us, to go and see that game. I think there's still tickets available if you want to try and get some tickets for that. So we'll catch you on Sunday. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Much appreciated. We'll see you Sunday.